Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby declare Marawi City liberated.
Good evening. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Eduardo Año is confident that Malaysian terrorist leader Dr. Mahmud Ahmad was one of those killed in the latest military operation in Marawi City. Grace Casin will tell us why.
20 more members of the ISIS-inspired multi-terrorist group were killed by the government forces since last night until this early morning. In a statement, AFP Chief of Staff Eduardo Año says 13 were killed last night and 7 more were slain this morning in the continuing military pursuit against the terrorists. The government also confirms the intelligence report that among those killed was Dr. Mahmud Ahmad, the financier, and purportedly took over the leadership of the group following the death of Isnilon Hapilon and Omar Maute. This is based on a statement by one of the rescued hostage, saying that as soon as he found dead, Mahmud was buried last night. The military is now searching for Mahmud's remains and the burial site. Año adds that 7 more hostages were freed, including a mother and her daughter who got injured but is now out of danger. Meanwhile, 6 soldiers were wounded but are now in better condition. With this data, the military believes that the number of hostages remaining with the terrorists has now gone down to 20. General Año stresses that the military is still in high morale, so is their desire to end the crisis in Marawi City.
Really, indeed, they are very, very high morale. Talagang nawala lahat ng pagod nila. When I went there on October 16, yung immediately nung pagkamatay, pumunta kami doon mismo sa site at saka doon sa kung saan dinala yung bangkay bago ilibing. Lahat ng tao na nakita natin na sundalo, nakatawa, nakangiti. Sabi nila, sir, baliwala lahat ng pagod na to. Yung more than 4 months na pagkipaglaban namin, nawala lahat.
In total, the number of fatalities from the terrorist side is now at 850 and 163 from the government forces. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A peace and security expert believes that President Rodrigo Duterte's declaration of liberation in Marawi City from terrorists is premature. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
For peace and security expert Professor Romel Banlawi, it is still early to say that Marawi City is already terror-free.
Dineclare yung liberation ng Marawi City, considered na patuloy pa yung clearing operation sa isang village sa Marawi City kung saan patuloy pa rin yung takbakan. In fact, as we speak now, ay nagpapatuloy pa rin yung paglalaban doon sa area na yun.
One proof, he said, are the many residents who still cannot go back to their homes. Their situation has not changed as well. It is also possible that President Duterte, in haste, declared the liberation of Marawi City after the military failed to hit the deadline several times.
Premature pa dahil siguro na-person na yung pamahalaan natin na mag-declare na ng liberation dahil matagal nang inaasahan yung sitwasyon na yun.
Malacanang respects the statement of Banlawi. However, the palace says the declaration of President is a strategic message. The government also believes the recovery of the city can now proceed.
As it has already been announced that this was a strategic message and that those are technically the leadership has been neutralized and that whatever forces that are left are non-significant and as it has been referred to, should be a matter of police enforcement. So from the perspective of the government, everything is aligned and on the road to recovery.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The local government of Marawi City today launched the restoration of the city. They start, however, by first cleaning up barangays that were not severely affected by the recently concluded war. Here's why from Victor Cosare.
Personnel from different barangays in Marawi City have come together this morning and start combing through the city's streets with the cleanup drive. This is in preparation for the homecoming of the displaced residents whose houses are situated in the controlled areas or barangays that were not severely affected by the war. If all things go well, the project targets to have the evacuees sent home by the end of October.
as soon as possible na kung matapos na yung na sa loob ng 5 araw na malinis namin itong 8 barangay. So inshallah babalik na yung mga tawa namin dito sa 8 barangay.
The barangay chairman also says his constituents are glad that Marawi City is now declared liberated from terrorists.
Masaya, nakakaiyak talaga. Kasi almost 5 months na hindi namin nakita yung iniwanan namin ng mga bahay namin sa mga barangay Dayawan.
Once the evacuees are sent home, the authorities plan to implement an ID system to ensure that bad elements will not be able to penetrate their community. But not all, however, will be able to immediately go home, as barangays that happen to be among the main battle areas will take longer time to be restored. To date, the national government is still facilitating the funds that will be used for the rehabilitation of Marawi City.
DBM Secretary Diokna said the government will issue bonds in January to finance Marawi rehabilitation. SOF Dominguez has directed DOF to study the possible issuance of 30 billion in bonds after PRRD earlier committed at least 20 billion to rehabilitate Marawi. The President has committed ample funds to rebuild Marawi, and the January bonds will ensure that his pledge is fulfilled. We hope to tap local and global markets, as well as Islamic investors in ASEAN and the Middle East, possibly with Islamic securities.
Meanwhile, a city councilor is opposing a proposal that seek just build a new community instead of restoring the structures in the main battle area that were demolished.
Mas bitter, i-ano na lang sa may yung tulad namin na may bahay kami. Mas gusto namin makuha namin yun. Kasi kawawa naman yung may mga bahay na hindi nila makukuha yung mga lot nila.
She further appeals for unity to prevent similar crisis from happening. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Marawi City.
The Philippine Army honors Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Eduardo Año in a testimonial review. Roderick Mendoza tells us why.
Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Eduardo Año extends his heartfelt thanks to the men and women of the AFP who helped and supported him in his leadership. He says a leader will not attain success without the love and dedication of those in the ranks. During his speech, Año stressed that Dr. Mahmud Ahmad, one of the military's high-value targets in Marawi City, is indeed dead. He says he also received reports that there were no enemies left in the area, as 10 of 20 hostages rescued by the military are also suspected to be members of the terrorist group, but this information is still for verification. General Año assumed the position as AFP Chief of Staff in December 7, 2016. He had been the head of the AFP Intelligence Service from 2012 to 2014, within which alleged NPA leaders Benito and Wilma Tiamzon were arrested. Año also led the search for General Jovito Palparan and the killing of NPA leader Commander Prago while he was with the 10th Infantry Division of the AFP. General Año is scheduled to retire on October 26, his 56th birthday. He has 4 officials in mind whom he will recommend to the President to replace him. He is confident that should the President choose from any one of the said 4 officials, the country is sure to be in good hands. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Meanwhile, Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu agrees to increase the excise tax of mining companies. Rosa Ricos will tell us why.
If Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu is to be asked, he wants to increase the excise tax being collected by the government from mining companies. He says the existing 2% excise tax is too low.
There was this study before. There were some proponents before to increase the 2% to 5%. But umaangar rin ng mga mining government. So, ano naman yan eh. Pero we have to really find out, and these are the things that we have to plan properly how much, financial and so forth and so on. But mukhang maliit yung 2%.
Si Matu adds that he plans to bring this out to the Mining Industry Coordinating Council or MICC for recommendations. Meanwhile, the mining audit of non-compliant mining companies which were ordered closed by former DNR Secretary Gina Lopez is still ongoing. Si Matu is still waiting for the MICC to submit its report before coming up with his own recommendation.
I've not seen the works of yung nag-audit ngayon. Gusto ko lang muna, they will continue their audit, they will continue their studies. Then only then na pag finished product na sila, saka ko na lang makita. I'm sorry na I cannot answer it muna to preempt whatever it is.
Si Matu is set to travel to Australia next week after being invited to see for himself the best mining practices there. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Department of Trade and Industry seeks to implement a registration system for e-commerce or online shopping. Here's why from Abby Santa Ines.
The PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group has recorded 44 cases of online scams, including fake or substandard products using the internet so far this year. Last year, there were more than 500 cases. With this, the agency plans to implement a registration system for e-commerce or what is now popularly known as online shopping. According to the figures provided by DTI, almost 35% of purchases made in the country were done online.
May mga online platforms or online distributors na hindi nakarehistro sa Pilipinas. So there's no way for us to be able to trace. But obviously, kung ang naobserbahan ng ating mga regular brick-and-mortar stores ay halos 35% na ng sales ay nangyayari sa online, malaking portion na ito, very significant portion ng retail or ng pagtitinda.
Yusek Pascua adds that they will seek the assistance of the Department of Information and Communications Technology and other agencies to have a monitoring of products sold online to address complaints from shoppers.
Kailangan ay rehistrado sila o pero tayong pamamaraan na pwede natin silang mapuntahan, ma-check at makausap kung ito'y may mga pangangailangan na i-explain o may mga reklamo.
The DTI has once again reminded consumers to take caution before shopping online. DTI says online shoppers should make sure that the online shopping website where they plan to buy products has HTTPS, which proves its legitimacy. Has a padlock icon, which means the payment method is secured. Contains complete information about the seller. Has a return policy and customer reviews. For complaints, shoppers may call DTI hotline number 751-3330. Abby Santa Ines, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
In other news, authorities will no longer allow vendors to set up food stalls along the so-called HEPA lane in Manila if they fail to secure the sanitary requirements from the local government. Joe Anano tells us why.
As the Manila City Hall continues to receive complaints from students and establishments along R. Papa Street, corner Nicanor Reyes, or what is dubbed as the HEPA lane in Manila, members of the Task Force Cleanup of the Department of Public Services or DPS forcibly removed the food stalls of the vendors in the area. The DPS says the vendors still fail to secure business and sanitary permits despite receiving notice to stop their operation.
Nung nag-notice naman kami, wala naman sila doon, umalis sila, siyempre na ano. Pero ang ginawa ko, miniting ko yung mga pamunuan ng mga vendors doon. Pumunta kayo sa City Hall para mag-secure kayo ng permit. Kung bibigyan kayo at kausapin niyo yung Manila Health and Sanitary Department natin kung papayagan kayo.
The village chairman also held a dialogue last night with the vendors and advised them to secure permits.
Willing naman silang mag-obey sa nare-required ng City Hall.
For now, vendors have already left the HEPA lane. The DPS also ordered policemen to monitor the area so vendors will no longer return. Some of the vendors are waiting on the sidewalk, hoping for the local government of Manila to grant them permits so they could continue their livelihood.
Nakatambay lang kami dito. Nag-aabang kami kung anong dapat gawin. Kasi wala talaga, hindi kami makapagtinda ng maayos kasi binabantayan lagi. Ay sa ngayon, parang nilalakad nila yun ngayon sa yung presidente namin, nilalakad.
According to the Division of Sanitation of Manila, the vendors have already applied for permits but they failed to pass the sanitary requirements.
There were efforts on their part to legitimize it. Ngayon, nagpunta sila dito, nagkanda kami ng seminar. So, nung nagpunta kami, nakikita namin, gumagamit naman ng karsada, nagtayo ka ng lamesa, at doon ay nagluluto ka, at naguhugas ka ng mga dining utensils as plate, hindi pwede yun. At pagka naman sila yung naglilinis, may kitang-kita, binawalis lang, nandun sa likod sa gutter.
Manila authorities remind the public of the diseases they can get when eating at unsanitary places like food poisoning, gastroenteritis, diarrhea, stomach flu, and cholera. Joan Ano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board is now planning for the pilot implementation of the government's Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program, which the agency plans to launch soon. Grace Casin tells us why.
100 modern jeepney units will ply the roads of Pateros, Taguig, and around Mall of Asia in Pasay City before the year ends. Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgras says once the modern models of jeepneys begin their operations, they will no longer allow the old units to operate.
Ay, hindi po. Kasi that's the purpose of the route rationalization. If we will be able to understand na may kailangan na mga X number of units, then yung X number of units ang tatakbo. And anong klaseng units na ngayon? Yun na yung in accordance with the standards set under the department order.
The LTFRB says it informed the operators of jeepneys in the 3 areas. That is why it sees no problem in the pilot implementation of the Public Utility Vehicle or PUV Modernization Program in the said routes.
Na-inform na po. In fact, nag-uusap yung LTFRB, DOTR, pati yung mga bangko doon sa mga existing co-ops doon sa rota na yan.
The modern jeepneys can accommodate 25 passengers. It has CCTV cameras, Wi-Fi, and global positioning system or GPS. All this would, Transport Authority says, would help ensure the security of the passengers. The new model also used automated fare collection or beep card for the payment of fares, and Euro 4 engine that would help drivers save fuel. Each jeepney unit is worth 1.6 million pesos. The government will loan it to the driver and operators under its financing program. The driver and operators will have to pay the loaned units for 800 pesos a day or 24,000 a month. However, during the hearing of the House Committee on Transportation today, some transport groups expressed their opposition to the said program.
Layunin lamang nitong pilitin kaming bumili ng mga bagong unit na hindi namin kayang bayaran.
Sa mga single operator, parang mawawala na ho sila ng hanap buhay, kaya medyo kakaba-kaba po ang dibdib namin.
Sa Pilipinas, hindi pa po angkop yung electric kung mahahaba yung rota mo. Yung solar po, madalas may bagyo rito, hindi naman po ata bagay dito yon sa Pilipinas.
On the other hand, the LTFRB says the bank give the operators the lowest interest they can get and that the agency will never neglect them.
Totoo ho, merong 4% kung private use. But once you disclose it is for public use or for hire, umaakyat ho ito ng 14% hanggang 20%. So ito ho yung the lowest that the DBP and Land Bank can give is 6. Compare ito to any commercial bank.
Kung hindi nila alam kung paano mag-consolidate, hindi naman ibig sabihin na hindi na mag-consolidate. Ang tutulungan natin.
The agency also explains the ultimatum given by President Rodrigo Duterte for the old jeepney units. It can be recalled that the President ordered to prohibit all old jeepney units to ply Philippine roads in 2018.
Yung sinasabi ng Presidente talaga is to express the urgency of the modernization program.
Jeepney drivers have mixed reactions regarding the issue.
Kakaganda naman ang natin, ba't hindi? Kung magsisipag naman po tayo para sa pamilya.
Ayaw namin sa modernization kasi pahirap yan Sa totoo lang, paano kami aasinso nito? Katatapos lang namin nulugan yung sarili naming jeep tapos mangungutang na naman kami uli.
Po, nananawagan kay
Pangulong Duterte na kung sakali mang ituloy yung peace out, maraming natama ang mga mahirap na driver na walang kakayahang papasok sa bagong jeep na pinapasok sa amin.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Interagency Council for Traffic, or IAC, hopes that the traffic situation in Metro Manila will lighten this holiday season with the creation of Task Force Alamid. Here's why from Joan Nano.
The bumper-to-bumper flow of vehicles is a normal scene in Metro Manila every day. Adding to this is the sale events of malls that cause more congestion on roads. Vehicles park along roads and the erring drivers who ply the stretch of EDSA. The government's Interagency Council for Traffic, or IAC, wants to resolve all these problems. Earlier today, IAC launches what it dubbed as Task Force Alamid. Under this task force, 300 traffic law enforcers from the Metro Manila Development Authority, Land Transportation Office, Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, and the Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group will coordinate in managing and fixing the flow of vehicles this holiday season. The Metro Manila Local Traffic Enforcers, Joint Task Force of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, leagues of barangays, and several volunteers from the Group Ligtas Patrol will also help in the said effort.
Yung scope namin is not just Metro Manila. Sabi ko nga, at saka areas na hindi pwede yung MMD, like the airport, sa loob ng airport, sa loob ng seaports. And then we can coordinate as well with the movement of yung mga arrivals at saka yung mga palace. Yung pumipilaw ng NLEX, baka hindi nyo alam, grabe na ang pila doon pag ordinaryong araw.
Task Force Alamid immediately begins its work today along the coastal road in Baclaran. During the operation, the task force apprehend 9 colorum vans or PUVs without permits with routes from Cavite to Loton.
Alam ko po, legal po ito, may mga papel, wala lang po nang nakalagay dito.
One of the apprehended vehicles even has a sticker of the Office of the President attached to it. When the driver was asked, he refused to answer.
Yeah, alam mo koloro ko. Opo. Bakit po napapasada pa rin?
Authorities issued violation tickets to the erring drivers and towed their vehicles. The apprehended drivers will pay fines of up to 200,000 pesos and their vehicles will be impounded for 3 months. It can be noted that the research by a Japanese organization in 2012 revealed that the country's economy loses 2.4 billion pesos daily due to heavy traffic. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Philippine National School for the Blind is set to build a livelihood center for students with visual impairment. Here's why from Leslie Longbowen.
Figures from the Department of Health or DOH shows that more than 2 million of Filipinos are blind or suffering from visual impairment. With this, the Philippine National School for the Blind or PNSB believes that through proper education, the blind can contribute positive changes to the society. To further hone the skills of blind students, the PNSB is set to build a livelihood center with the help of the James Mackay Foundation.
Gusto naming magkaroon ng awareness sa mga tao na kung ano yung kaya na gagawa natin, kaya din gawin ng mga bulag.
Students of the Livelihood Center will learn various livelihood skills which can provide them with more opportunity for future employment.
They'll be cooking, blind chefs, they'll have their making soap, they'll have their laundry, making soap for hotels. Yeah, then upstairs they'll massage and then learn in different languages, teaching Chinese, Japanese, so they can work in call centers.
This brings new hope to the students of PNSB.
Malaking tulong po, lalo po sa mga blind, lalo po yung katulad po ng iba na yung hindi na kaya talaga mag-pursue ng college.
PNSB has also expressed gratitude for the help provided by the James Mackay Foundation.
Before, it's an elusive dream. Pero talagang naging posible dahil sa Mackay Foundation.
The construction of the Livelihood Center will begin in January and is expected to be completed by October of 2018. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Next on Y News. Disbarment likely against lawyers linked to the alleged cover-up attempt in the hazing of Acho Castillo.
PNP finalizes report to clarify issues of alleged extrajudicial killings in the country. And the local government of Zamboanga places the entire city under state of calamity.
Y News will be right back.
Senator Francis Escudero believes that a disbarment complaint can be filed against the lawyers and law students who are members of the Aegis Juris fraternity who are being linked to the death of hazing victim Horacio Acho Castillo III. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
As a lawyer and Alpha Phi Beta fraternity member himself, Senator Francis Cheese Escudero expressed dismay over what he describes as a clear cover-up attempt of the lawyers and law students of the University of Santo Tomas in the death of hazing victim Horacio Acho Castillo III. The senator says the Aegis Juris fraternity members are tainting the image of lawyers in the country. Escudero explains the online chat messages among members of the Aegis Juris fraternity can be used as basis to disbar the lawyers and soon-to-be lawyers.
Sa katunayan, ang paglabag sa anti-hazing law, ang pag-commit ng murder o bilang accessory ng murder, ito'y nagko-constitute ng tinatawag nating moral turpitude at maaari maging basehan para itong mga estudyante ng law ay hindi payagang mag-bar, pumasaman sila, hindi pwede maging abogado at grounded yan for disbarment ng sino mga incumbent na abogado.
According to Attorney Cristina Layuza of the Office of the Bar Confidant of the Supreme Court, law students facing charges cannot take their oaths, although they are allowed to take bar exams.
Policy of the court is to let them take the bar exams. But once they pass, we will hold their oath-taking. It might even take 10 years, 15 years, but the court will not allow them to take their oath unless the cases against them has been dismissed.
In the event the cases filed against them are dismissed, they still have to submit a petition to the court and documents proving they are of good moral fiber or in the right condition to convince the court that they can practice law. The senator, meanwhile, proposes a total ban on corporeal initiation rites or hazing by fraternities.
To simply prohibit hazing, siguro isang malaking amendment sa batas yun. Initiation rites na walang kinalaman sa pagsakit o pagdampi ng maski na isang daliri sa katawan ng sinumang neophyte.
Escudero also stands firm that the University of Santo Tomas has liability for the death of Acho, especially since those involved are students of the USC Civil Law College. During yesterday's Senate hearing, USC alumni and Senator Joel Villanueva expressed dismay after seeing that the profile of the Aegis Juris fraternity is still at the website of the USC Civil Law Department amid the involvement of the fraternity's members to the crime.
Nandun pa rin yung Aegis Juris fraternity, nakalagay po doon. And again, Mr. Chairman, parang promotion pa rin ho ito. Hindi ko alam kung aware pa rin po ang ating Dean, si Dean Divina, because last hearing I mentioned this.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV, News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The two Caloocan policemen submitted their counter-affidavits to the Department of Justice and insisted that Carl Angelo Arnaiz was killed in a legitimate police operation. This was, however, belied by the taxi driver's affidavit. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
The Caloocan policemen asked the Department of Justice to dismiss the complaints filed against them over the deaths of Carl Angelo Arnaiz and Reynaldo de Guzman alias Kulot. PO1 Jeffrey Perez and PO1 Ricky Arquilita insisted Carl was killed in a legitimate police operation after engaging them in a shootout. In their joint counter-affidavit, the cops narrated that they are conducting patrol along C3 Road at 3:30 in the morning of August 18 when taxi driver Tomas Bagcal approached them. He told the policeman that he was robbed by Carl and positively identified the suspect. When confronted, Carl allegedly shot at them, prompting the cops to retaliate that resulted to his death. However, Bagcal has a different version in his counter affidavit. He said the teenagers boarded his taxi in Pasig City going to 5th Avenue in Caloocan and declared a hold-up upon reaching the destination.
According to my client, Carl was then reeking with liquor, smelling with liquor at that time. Probably it was just made mga trip lang siguro yon.
With the help of a tricycle driver who noticed the commotion, he was able to subdue the teenagers and brought them to the police. He said the allegation that Carl resisted is a script fed to him by the cops because he saw the teenager was shot while kneeling. Bagcal also disowned the content of the affidavit that he earlier gave to the police.
And we are disowning that. We did not voluntarily sign that. It was signed through intimidation and coercion.
The preliminary investigation resumes on Monday to give the Public Attorney's Office the chance to reply to the counter affidavits of Bagcal and the two cops. They are facing charges for double murder, torture, and planting of evidence. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Department of Justice.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, is completing a report that it says would shed light on the issue of alleged cases of extrajudicial killings in the country. Monokson will tell us why.
For the last time, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, seeks to clarify anew the issue on the alleged extrajudicial killings in the country. To do this, the PNP is completing now a report that would clarify the reasons behind the deaths of more than 10,000 drug suspects in various parts of the country, which critics claim are state-sponsored killings. The Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, has initially sought to conduct a similar probe, but President Rodrigo Duterte himself prohibited the plan.
How do we know now ngayon kung ano yung sinasabi nilang EJK? Kasi ang sa atin po ay ano yung krimen na naganap. Pag may krimen na naganap, sino ang perpetrator? State or non-state? Ngayon, isa pa ho dyan, kailangan dyan, inimbestigahan ho ba yan o hindi?
According to the PNP, the thousands of deaths cannot be considered as extrajudicial killings, or EJK, since the cases are still under investigation. If a cop is proven involved in a killing, the PNP explains it will fall under the category of murder and not EJK. For now, authorities have already resolved more than 6,000 cases of deaths, meaning these are already at courts, and the suspects are now facing charges. Through the said report, the public can know what happened behind the anti-illegal drugs operations of the PNP.
What we do is analyze what is happening and report, give out strategies, give out this report to the public. Wala ho tayong nakikita doon na to cover up. Wala po.
Meanwhile, the PNP will turn over death cases involving illegal drugs to the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Department of Justice rejected the motion of former Customs Chief Nicanor Faeldon asking for the transfer of his case to the Office of the Ombudsman. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
The Department of Justice has maintained that they have jurisdiction on drug-related charges even when high-ranking officials are involved. This as the DOJ rejected the motion of former Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faeldon asking for the transfer of the investigation on his case to the Ombudsman. Faeldon is one of the respondents in PDEA's complaint for allegedly conspiring to smuggle over 600 kilos of shabu, which was recovered in Valenzuela City. The DOJ has previously rejected a similar motion of Senator Laila de Lima in relation to her illegal drug trading case. During today's hearing, Faeldon and other former customs officials submitted their counter affidavits. Faeldon says the allegation that he conspired to smuggle the drug shipment from China is baseless. He points out the principal complainant, Norman Balquiedra, has no personal knowledge of the events. Former Customs Intelligence Chief Neil Estrella insisted their inspection on the warehouse where the drug shipment was seized was legal. He adds the operation was properly coordinated with PDEA and they did not spoil the evidence. Forwarding company owner Richard Tan also maintains his innocence. In fact, He claims to be the informant that led the authorities to the drug shipment.
Nakakalungkot na siya pa yung tumulong sa ating mga ahensya para mahuli yung mga droga, pero ngayon siya pa yung kinasuhan. It seems that Richard Tan is being made a convenient scapegoat, a convenient excuse.
The DOJ will resume the investigation on November 3. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Department of Justice.
Meanwhile, the Senate has started publishing the rules of impeachment as it prepares for the trial of COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista. Other senators have also had their robes prepared in time for the trial. Nevertheless, the Senate has yet to receive the articles of impeachment coming from the House of Representatives for the impeachment trial of the poll chief to commence.
We are mandated to convene. And then that's the time we can act on whatever motions or petitions or remedies the parties may want to file. Hindi pwedeng sabihin ng Senado ngayon, hindi na namin tatanggapin yan. Makakapagsabi at desisyon lamang kami once na-activate na yung impeachment court, which ang magti-trigger niyan is the filing of the articles of impeachment.
The Philippine National Police is now in full alert in Bacolod City ahead of President Rodrigo Duterte's visit over the weekend. Police Regional Office 6 spokesperson Police Superintendent Gilbert Guerrero said they will deploy around 4,000 security personnel to maintain peace and order in the city, though no threat has been monitored. President Duterte will be in Bacolod City for the Mascara Festival.
Meanwhile, the local government of Zamboanga has placed the entire city under state of calamity. Here's why from Joanano.
The landslides and floods brought by continuous rains brought huge damage in the city of Zamboanga, prompting a declaration of state of calamity. Thus, after the Sangguniang Panglungsod's recommendation has been approved by the City Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council earlier. According to City Vice Mayor Cesar Iturralde, the city has to be placed under a state of calamity due to the huge damage caused by the rains and floods since last week. He says through the said declaration, the calamity fund of the city can be used.
Yes, we have 5% in our budget, and the only requirement is that before we use the money, that state of calamity declaration must be declared so that we'll be able to use the funding for the purpose.
The local government unit also calls for aid from private groups or individuals for the affected residents. The damages caused by the calamity to agriculture, aside from fisheries and irrigation, has already reached 46 million pesos. According to the Agriculturist Office, the affected include 310 hectares of farmlands, 477 hectares of cornfield, and 144 hectares of vegetable farms. The calamity has also damaged an estimated of 200 hectares of seaweeds and 857 hectares of fish pond. Based on the report of the City Engineer's Office, about 16 to 20 million pesos is the initial damage caused of the calamity to the infrastructures in the city. The flooding has affected 3,600 families or 18,000 individuals. Classes at all levels in private and public schools remain suspended. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The 100 Islands National Park in Pangasinan has reached a record high in tourist arrivals this year. Roby de Guzman tells us why.
The holiday season signals a double of number of tourist arrivals in the 100 Island National Park in Pangasinan. The Alaminos City Tourism Office attributes this to the numerous times the park was featured in social networking sites as among the top tourist destinations in Pangasinan.
We are also targeting na ang magiging arrival ng 100 Islands National Park is around 300, going to 500,000 for this year, 2017.
Majority of foreign tourists who visit the place are Koreans, Americans, and Japanese. Since they began the beautification of the park and putting additional facilities in the islands, they have achieved a record high 352,000 tourist arrivals this October as compared to that of last year, which only reached 350,000 visitors. The Alaminos local government unit ensures that even with the renovations that are being done in the place, the island's natural beauty is not at all altered.
We have a statistics tungkol dyan. Kung bakit sila bumabalik, siyempre una, malapit lang ito, strategic area. And the same time, every month kasi na bumabalik sila dito, there are new facilities na makikita nila na hindi nila nakita nung una na silang dumalaw.
Meanwhile, the City Tourist Office will implement a boat rotation to avoid confusion in the queuing of passengers and to give fair competition among boatmen. Robbie de Guzman, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up on Y News. Canada's Quebec bans face veil in public services.
Australian Senate rejects proposed legislation tightening visa and citizenship rules for foreign workers.
And clowns from around the world gather in Mexico City.
More from Y News after this break.
UNTV's program Spotlight, to be hosted by multi-awarded TV personality William Teo, has more interesting things to offer to our kasangbahays. Leslie Longboan will tell us why.
Kasangbahays have again something to watch out for on UNTV as the program Spotlight has been relaunched. Its returning host, multi-awarded broadcast journalist and TV personality William Teo, says the program will introduce iconic figures in the country in a way the public has never seen before.
Maraming mga tao na para bang kilala natin, but we want to bring to the viewers what people don't know, which is more of the personal life. If they're successful, kung ano yung mga challenges na naranasan nila, na para bang did they want to give up.
Apart from featuring the popular personalities' achievements, the program also gives its viewers an opportunity to learn from the colorful stories of its guests. That's why Spotlight is not only informative and entertaining, but also inspirational. William adds there are some changes in the program's concept.
During that time, Reggie was doing the political side, the serious political side, and I was doing more of the lifestyle and entertainment. So ngayon pa lang siya yung relaunch ng Spotlight ngayon has a slightly different format. More of achievers, more of people who are successful in their given fields.
Meanwhile, William feels honored to be entrusted with the program again. He says he feels happy to do the project being part of the country's public service channel.
I'm honored and of course fortunate to be doing what I wanted to do, which is of course the news and public service, and with the network that of course ang advocacy ng UNTV is news, rescue, public service, and anything to do with for the good of humanity. So I think I found my home.
Spotlight is to be aired on UNTV Saturdays from 4:30 to 5 in the afternoon starting October 28. Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news, October 19, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Teo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y News.